Got a plan.
Okay. Did you tell them that yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Congratulations, Kurt.
You don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
But he'll agree to it, it's okay.
Okay.
How are we doing?
You're good.
It is 4 minutes past 7. We have returned from executive session to continue our public meeting. If we could please call the roll.
Mr. Fitzpatrick?
Here.
Mr. Lamb?
Here.
Ms. Fitzgerald? Here. Ms. Jordan?
Here.
Ms. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Spicer is excused, Dr. Collins is excused, Mr. Ryder is excused, Ms. Corzones?
Here,
That's it.
And if we could stand for the pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have 3 actions coming out of executive session. So I'll be looking for motions for all 3. The first is BOE 43. Be it resolved that the Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, approves of the terms of settlement agreement and general release between the district and employee number 5358, and authorizes the Superintendent of Schools to sign said agreement. The settlement agreement and general release between the district and employee number 5358 shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting.
So moved.
second.
All in favor of accepting BOE 43?
Aye.
Any opposed? BOE 43 is passed. Can I lose one? Stuck together. The second is BOE 44, BOCES board nomination. Be it resolved that the Board of Education nominates Suzanne Jordan for election to an at-large seat on the Ulster County BOCES board for a 3-year term from July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2028.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
BOE 40, congratulations, Ms. Jordan, and thank you. Our third is BOE 45, to amend the 24-25 master calendar. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the amendments to the 24-25 school calendar, emergency give back day as determined by the superintendent.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So BOE 45 is also approved. That brings us to our student recognition.
Okay.
Dr. Catalino.
Got it. Today, our student recognition is going to be our senior, Jackson Cutrone, who's standing right there. Jackson is celebrated as this year's Ulster County representative for the American Legion Oratorical Contest. After finishing first in the county and district levels, Jackson came in second in the zone level and is an alternate to the states. Jackson is a 2024 Boys State candidate, serves on the Kingston City School District Shared Decision-Making Team and the Kingston High School Building Leadership Team. He's the class of 2025 treasurer, member of the National Honor Society, Film Club, Academic World Club, Quest, and he's the founder and president of the KHS debate team. How'd you make out today against the Bruderhoffs today?
That would be the mock trial team, actually.
Oh, that was mock trial, okay.
I think they did good, but it's the Mad Academy.
Yeah, I know. I saw it on the sign, I thought, So according to Dr. Skorka, Jackson is humble and kind and has a positive attitude and always happy to help and work for the greater good. So congratulations to our student recognition this month, Jackson Cutrone. We don't have anything for him.
Congratulations, Mom and Dad.
And I'm told Jackson has some words he'd like to say.
Oh, great.
I'd love to just thank everyone for giving me this. It's a huge honor, and I'm so happy that I've had the privilege at the high school to be able to do all these clubs and great experiences, and it's made it an amazing 4 years that will sadly be ending in just 12 or so weeks. So thank you for that. Thank you to my parents for all the help with this, and thank you for the Ulster County American Legion, who has helped me with these opportunities of Boys State and the oratorical contest.
Congratulations, Jackson. You make us proud.
Thank you.
That brings us to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the board? Okay, that moves us to the minutes from the February 19th meeting. If I could have a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
And a second. Any discussion on those minutes? All in favor of approving the minutes from February 19th?
Aye.
Any opposed? So the February 19th minutes are approved. And our superintendent's report, Dr. Catalino.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. First on the superintendent's report, we have Ms. Jamison, the principal of JFK, and her entire staff.
Good evening. Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Padalino, Cabinet, my entire staff, those who are here tonight, and those who are watching at home. I'm, as always, thrilled to stand up here and share some of the things we're doing at JFK with all of you. I'm going to start with a little bit about our student demographics. We currently have 317 students, 20 classes, 2 classes that looped this year, 39 E&L students, 69 students with IEPs. We continue to be a Title I school with 74 to 79% of our students being economically disadvantaged. Our SEP commitments this year might sound familiar because they are truly the 3 things we believe in most at JFK: meaningful learning opportunities, a sense of belonging, and community. I'd like to start by highlighting our 2nd and 3rd commitments, that every child will feel safe, respected, supported, and a true sense of belonging in our community, and that we strive to establish strong, trusting relationships with families across the school community. On the right side of the screen, you'll see data from our 100-day survey, where 100% of our families reported that they're having either a 5 or 4-star start to the year, and 96% of our families reported that their children feel safe, have a sense of belonging, and build positive relationships at JFK, with only 4% not being sure and no parents answering this that they disagree or strongly disagree. One of the ways that we're working to build community and support our families is with Walking School Bus. This year, I'm so proud that we were able to extend our Walking School Bus from 2 days a week to 5 days a week. Thanks to a crew of very dedicated JFK staff members, we are out every single day, rain, shine, snow, or ice, and there was a lot of ice this school year. And we have a rotating staff, and I myself go out on Mondays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and it is my favorite way to start a school day. Since I started at JFK, we've been focused on improving our attendance and lowering our chronic absenteeism rates, and this year we decided to do some work to formalize that process. We formed a JFK attendance committee made up of our instructional coach, social worker, nurse, teachers, and teaching assistants. We formalized a protocol that teachers can follow once a student hits 3 days out, and those aren't consecutive days. We start tracking students once they've hit their 3rd absence for the year. Our protocol includes a script that's meant to take all shame out of calling families and asking about absences, because we are truly coming from a place of support, of understanding, and of wanting to help. There's a QR code at the bottom of the sheet that many teachers have right by their classroom phone, that if their outreach is not successful, they can scan and make a referral right to our JFK Attendance Committee, who will continue outreach before passing along to the district attendant social worker. On our family survey, 100% of families reported that they either agree or strongly agree that they know why it's important for their child to be at school each and every day. Another way we've been supporting our families is we are so proud to offer TOPS this year 4 days a week, December through May. We have 117 students currently enrolled in TOPS, which means that 37% of our students have a safe and supportive place to complete their homework 4 days a week, and then attend exciting enrichment classes, such as creating art out of recycled materials, physical education, logic games, dance, and many more. But it's been a really successful start to our TOPS program. We truly see our families as partners in this work, and we'll invite our families in any chance we get. That's something that hasn't changed at JFK. We also continue to support our themes and the things we believe in with picture books through our Book Fairy program. And this year, we're so excited to partner with Dr. Javon Hunter on a school-wide book program that will be multidisciplinary and using the book I Am You. It's a book of Ubuntu, which boils down to I am you, you are me. Whatever I do to you, I also do to myself. Our amazing music teacher, Ms. Hanson, who's here tonight, has also written a song to go along with this work, and having a school song is always something I've wanted, so I'm really excited to share that at next year's board meeting. The rest of my presentation will focus on our first commitment, which has to do with meaningful learning and engaging every single child in the school in meaningful learning. Here you'll see our iReady ELA data. On the top, you'll see starting in the fall, we started with 18% of our students on or above grade level, and by the winter diagnostic, we're up to 30% of our students on or above grade level. We started our year with 42% of our students 2 or more grade levels below, and by winter, we're down to 28% of our students 2 or more grade levels below. And I included last year's data so you could see that we continue to also trend positively year after year. There are similar trends in math where we started the year with only 5% of our students on or above grade level and are up to 15 by the winter diagnostic. We started the year with 48% of our students 2 or more grade levels below in math and are down to 35 by the winter assessment. I'm really excited to share with you JFK's experience with CKLA this year. We were so proud to have 6 classes pilot this work. Many of our pilot teachers are sitting behind me right now. We piloted in a class on every single grade across the school, including 2 classes with English language learners, 3 classes with students with IEPs, and a class that looped, meaning that last year they had 1 curriculum, looped with the same teacher, and are using CKLA this year. There's a beautiful graphic from Dr. Sarah Holbrook that shows throughout the grades the growth that our students will have once this curriculum is adopted school-wide. And tonight you'll hear so many things that our staff and students love about CKLA, but one thing I'd really like to highlight myself is that for years we've been working tirelessly at JFK to close the achievement gap, to really improve overall student achievement at JFK. And we know that the one major thing that we need to do to get off the CSI list is to drastically improve state test scores, and I believe that CKLA is the missing piece to this puzzle. It's a tier 1 whole class grade level curriculum that gives our students the background knowledge, the content knowledge, the vocabulary, the exposure to sophisticated literature, science, and social studies concepts, and most importantly, the stamina and confidence to successfully excel on our state tests. I believe that we'll start seeing the results as early as this year in our 3rd and 4th graders because it's already showing in our iReady data. So here's a snapshot of our pilot classes and the improvements that they've made specifically from the fall to the winter diagnostic. Talking about sophisticated content and vocabulary, here's just a snapshot of what kindergarten is covering this year in the CKLA room. This is a quote from veteran teacher Joan Williams, who's here with us tonight, who speaks about how she was curious about CKLA, and I might even use the word skeptical, which will come up a few times with our teachers today, but the major shift in the way that literacy and ELA curriculum is taught, specifically that letter names aren't taught until February in kindergarten, which is a major shift from how things have been done in the past. But she shares that at this point, all students in her room, including her English language learners, are reading and reading well. They can easily sound out any word they see, have beautiful handwriting, are writing organically. She said student success in this program has been phenomenal, and she is thoroughly impressed. Here's a quick look at the units of a glance in 1st grade. I interviewed first grade students JD and Sasha from the pilot class, and JD shares about how he started the year thinking there were only 3 layers of the earth, but CKLA taught him there are actually 4, and then he shares them with us in his video. And Sasha talks about the skills portion of CKLA and how much content she's learned in skills alone, let alone the knowledge strand. Their teacher, Miss Miller, shared that she was really excited to pilot CKLA and she loves the cross-curricular aspects to the program. She speaks about how specifically in writing it levels the playing field for our students, that they're not just writing about their experiences that they have on their own at home, that the students are now tasked to write about the curriculum content that they're learning in class all together. She said that, as other teachers will speak about tonight, that she was a little nervous about the high level of vocabulary being used in the curriculum, but that the students are using those words in regular conversation throughout the day. She also highlights that she was able to partner with our STEM Lab TA and really give the students some amazing virtual reality experiences directly tied to the curriculum. They took a virtual tour using VR headsets of the pyramids, and I was lucky enough to be there when they took a virtual tour of outer space, and you could hear their excitement throughout the entire school. And the data shows just how effective this work is. So here's her annual typical growth and annual stretch growth as compared to the non-CKLA pilot classes. Here's the grade 2 units at a glance. I interviewed JFK second graders, Simone and James. Simone talks about how the insect unit is her favorite, particularly learning about friends and foes, and James talks about how his favorite thing that he's learned in CKLA is the War of 1812, which I never thought I'd hear a second grader speaking about. And their teacher, Ms. Checksfield, talked about how purposeful and complete the curriculum is, and how she sees the connection between the skills and the knowledge strand, how it's a program that is engaging, that is really fun for her to teach, and that the students are really excited to learn from. She also mentioned the positive results that she's seeing, which you can see compared to the non-pilot classes. Here are 3rd grade units at a glance. Here, 3rd grade student Alex is showing off something that his teacher, Michelle, started in her room, which is using doodle notes. Because the curriculum is the content is very heavy, she has her students sketching as they're learning. So he's showing off his sketch of the eye and the human body, and was so excited to share with me that you are born with more bones than you end up with later in life. And Henry speaks in his video about how exciting he was to learn about animal classification, and he thought he was teaching me a lesson in it. So it's a fun video if you haven't had a chance to watch it. Their teacher, Ms. Shell, said that CKLA has completely transformed the way she delivers ELA instruction and the way she views her students. Like others have said, she was really worried about the rich vocabulary and that it would be too difficult for them to comprehend, and said, boy, was I wrong. She hears students using words like conceited, transformation, and interconnected as common language across her classroom. And she said she just recently overheard a discussion between a group of students debating whether a dust particle could travel from the cornea through the layers of the eye into the optic nerve and enter the brain. She also says, like I've been sharing all along, that the results speak for themselves. She said her diagnostic scores have never improved so much between fall and winter administration. And here's her annual typical growth and stretch growth compared to the non-CKLA pilot classes. Here are our 4th grade units at a glance. JFK 4th grade student Micah shares about his love of how much he finds the curriculum interesting, how much he's enjoyed the personal narrative unit and learning about real people and their lives. Kira also really enjoyed the personal narrative unit and mentions that she loved learning about polio. And she also mentioned that she thinks that the content is so much more challenging than ELA instruction has been in her past experience at JFK, and how she thinks it's a good thing. Her teacher, Mr. Manley, said that he's seen his 4th graders flourish this year, that the content is engaging and relatable. The students are accessing a real depth of knowledge in addition to learning vital literacy skills that will set them up for success later in their academic careers. And here's the 4th grade data, CKLA pilot class compared to the non-pilot classes. I'm now now so excited to welcome up to the podium Dresden Smith, who's the class president of Mr. Manley and Ms. Torok's 4th grade class, who's piloting this curriculum. When I asked Mr. Manley and Ms. Torok who they thought I should interview, he was the first person that they suggested. He's an incredible representative of our school community, so I thought it was really important to invite him here tonight in person to share with you what he thinks about CKLA and a little bit about the work he's doing.
My name is Dresden Smith, and I am in 4th grade at JFK. I have been a JFK student since kindergarten, and I love all the staff. This year, my class switched to CKLA for reading and writing. I think CKLA is interesting. It's a little harder, and I feel like you have more room to learn than last year. Last year, reading was really easy. We got to learn about new things with CKLA. We got to learn about poetry, the Middle Ages, all this brand new stuff. It's a lot, but you can still remember it, and it's really interesting. Because CKLA is pushing us to write more and use bigger words, I think it's getting me ready to go to middle school next year. The most interesting thing I've learned this year so far was poetry. I've really loved learning poetry. We are reading about poets and their process. We learned about Sherman Alexie. He expressed his anger through poetry. He was so angry because people used to judge him. The doctor said he wouldn't make it past through his first birthday. Everybody laughed at him and made fun of him. Poetry gave him a way to express his feelings. We also learned about Langston Hughes, and my favorite Langston Hughes poem is Harlem. We've learned about how to write our own poems, emphasizing words, line breaks, and when to use rhymes. The most recent poet we learned about is Walt Whitman. We read his poem, I Hear America Singing, and I wrote my own poem using the same structure. I'm really proud of it, and I would love to share with all of you tonight. I hear JFK singing. I hear my school singing the very carols I hear of those teachers and students, each one singing his as it should be, bleak and strong. Miss Jameson singing as she directs morning announcements, Miss Torok singing as she glides her expo marker across the whiteboard, Miss Julie singing as she happily greets people into our special community, Miss Hanson singing as she leads the chorus while playing the piano to stay in key, the gym teachers singing as they blow the whistles to remind students of the proper form needed to do push-ups, the bus driver singing as they transport people safely to JFK, Mr. Brown singing as he munches on Girl Scout cookies at his back table, Mr. Manley singing as he hits the bell to get everyone's attention, each singing what belongs to him or her and to none else, singing with open mouths their strong and melodious songs.
That concludes my presentation, and I would like to thank Dresden and his mom and his family. He has 2 JFK siblings, former JFK siblings, and just such an incredible member of our community. Thank you to my entire community, my staff, students, and families, to Emily Zifchek for supporting the work that I spoke about tonight every step of the way, to Dr. Felicello, the school board, Dr. Padalino, all district administrators for all your support, to my elementary crew who I could not do this without, and to Brad and Lily watching at home. Now, as a proud JFK mom, I am thrilled to say that my JFK kid loves our school as much as I do.
It almost sounded like you were thanking for getting an Oscar.
I think the last 2 years in a row I left someone very important out, so I was like, let me just write it all down.
Questions or comments? Mr. Lamb and then Mrs. Jordan.
I've walked in that building and I had a sense of belonging there. And I gotta tell you, your staff and you are wonderful and do a wonderful job, and what a incredible young man. I mean, that was the highlight tonight. So thank you very much for all you were doing at JFK, staff and
Thank you, Mr. Lehman.
Mrs. Jordan?
I don't know how you can stand up there with the Star of Dresden behind
I
you. But, congratulations. But I want to thank you for making the CKLA presenting it with such clarity for all of us. We've heard a lot about it, but it was really such a clear presentation. And the fact that you added the students and the voices of the teachers really just highlights how great it is. My only sadness is that it took so long for us to find it. You know, I'm so pleased for Dresden and his cohorts and the younger kids coming up, but I think that it's so important that when we find something of quality that we stick with it, and that we that we don't then have something new and shiny coming along, because it sounds like everybody agrees that it really is, as you put so eloquently, the missing piece. So congratulations, and I hope that all the kids can continue to benefit from this high-level instruction. And I love to hear things about vocabulary building, because it just enhances our communication, and if we communicate better, then we have less conflict. So thank you so much.
Mrs. Fitzgerald?
I'm just gonna make a quick comment. I don't usually cry in a meeting, but it's very touching to hear you speak Dresden, and I think that you're gonna go very far in life. I'm so happy that you have the support behind you, but you yourself, being a young man willing to stand at a podium in front of people, and you did it very well. I'll use the word eloquently. You did it very eloquently. So I wish you luck in all of your endeavors, but I do think you're going to go far. In middle school, I think you're just going to probably shoot right through the roof. Keep on with that poetry.
Any other, Mrs. Corson?
I just also want to thank you. As you know, and a lot of your staff knows, JFK is a school that was always very near and dear to my heart, and I used to be there for many, many hours, many days throughout school years. And it's just so wonderful to see the energy, the passion that everyone has come together. And you are fabulous. You did a great job, so thank you for that, because you're why we all are here. We're here to support you so that you can thrive and do everything. I guess I have one question, because I know how challenging it is to change in instruction. What have been some of the challenges for your staff? Because I know you know your staff and students well. What are some of the challenges that maybe they've encountered as they've shifted over? And how have you been able to support them in addressing it?
I think the number one challenge is the time commitment.
Mhm.
So CKLA in kindergarten, first and second grade is a 2-hour time commitment, which means that if you are piloting this program with Fidelity, some things have to go. So in Joan's class, she's not doing the forest program this year. So there are things that we're balancing to make this work. In third and fourth grade, it's a slightly less time commitment, but still one nonetheless. So I think that if I was to pick one challenge with implementing this curriculum, it's making the timing work. But I'm very grateful that I have a group of administrators who's been meeting with the principals and working on how we can make this work across our entire school next year, meet the time constraints, and still do the things that really matter to us outside of curriculum at the school.
Great, thank you.
Of course.
Mr. Fitzpatrick, do you?
I just want to say your words are beautiful, child. You are our future. And I think that it's, well, I love seeing that that you guys do your walking the school bus every day. That's great. It seems like you have quite a lot of kids. Do you have any idea about how many?
say the average is about 20 students, but it really varies. So some days we've gotten up to almost 40 students who come along, but it really varies day to day. And we will go shouting wake-up calls through windows if we have to. But I would say an average is about 20 students.
Was it about that when you only did it some days?
No, it's grown throughout time, and I think it's very weather dependent, but I think now that we have it 5 days a week, it's a really steady crew of students that we can come to expect from Romdale Gardens, Springbrook Village, and the surrounding areas that we have our regulars now, and a pretty solid group.
I heard a lot of good things tonight, but I have to say the one that stuck with me is the attendance calls with no shame. It really speaks to knowing your community and knowing that there are reasons why kids aren't in school, and not to shame anyone into having to make up a story or lie or feel bad about it. So thank you for that.
I just have a question. First of all, I don't know why Miss Jordan gave me that look. Second of all, I want to know about, can the dust particle get through the iron?
I don't know, Michelle is not.
Okay, so can you find out and report back?
You got it.
Thank you.
Tomorrow morning, you will have a report straight from her students. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Susan. Just a few other things. I know probably anyone who's listening at home or some of the people sitting here heard the one resolution coming out of executive session about the calendar. So our intention is tomorrow to communicate with our faculty, staff, and parents and students. We will be changing our April break, our give back over April break, to extend April break to the 22nd and 23rd, with students returning on the 24th and 25th. And then we will be adding the other two give back days, if they happen, because we could still have snow, to the 22nd and 23rd of May. But we'll put out a more clear communication about that tomorrow, as well as the order, what the give backs, the take backs from us would be if we get more snow, if we do have more snow days, like maybe Friday. Not saying there's going to be a snow day on Friday. I'm just heard there might be snow. But so again, Thursday and Friday, the 24th and 25th of April, students will return from spring break, and the 22nd and 23rd of May, we will be off for an extended Memorial Day weekend. That being said, just a quick update. We are moving forward, obviously, on the budget. We have, our next board meeting is April 2nd, which is a focus on the school budget. So Ms. Carbon and the rest of the team, we've been working diligently, and I know there was a lot of concern about the deficit that we talked about, or the gap that we talked about. We're whittling that down. We're looking through everything that we do here. We're using a little different process this year, so it's a little more painful and a little slower than before. But back when we come back early next week or late next week, you'll all get more information, and then on the 2nd, we'll have our first real full-blown presentation of the school district budget. Hopefully, probably not, but hopefully by April 1st, the state will pass their budget and we'll have real accurate data, but I'm being informed that probably won't be the case, but we'll see. So that's where we are as far as the budget is concerned. Just quick things on our building projects that we have going on. We have our 2023 bond, which is the bond that goes to all of our buildings. Our contractors for phase 1 have been on site. They're going to start doing some of the work over spring break, so we're really moving quickly there. For phase 2,
What schools are those?
those would be Bailey and Edson. Bailey and Edson. Phase 2 is awaiting approval from New York State Education Department, but it's all in and ready to roll. We're working up estimates on phase 3 and phase 4. The stakeholder meetings are beginning in Meyer, Graves, and JFK. Dietz Stadium is up and running for our spring sports. We had a few issues over the last few weeks around ADA hardware and some of the locker rooms, but we've worked together with the city. We've fixed that, and we're moving forward. And our playgrounds, with the exception of a few little bits here and there, are open and operational for all our students to use as the weather gets nice like it was today. And that really concludes my superintendent's report for tonight.
Okay. Any questions or comments for the superintendent?
I have Crosby, I believe. Did they recently lost a playground?
Yes.
correct? So what do they have now?
They have a brand-new playground that we put in over the last year and a half. The playground in the front of the building was deemed unsafe by our insurance company, our architects and engineers, and we took it down. We're working, Mr. Bogart is working with Miss Sickles over there to find out what she would like to do with that space. And one of the ideas was maybe put some swings in and use the space kind of as an open outdoor play area for our students there.
Okay.
Can I just make a quick comment and just say, I'm very appreciative of the work that is going into the budget this year, because I understand it's a difficult environment that we're working in terms of budget this year. It seems like it's a little different than other years, so I think a lot more tweaking is happening, and so I can appreciate all of the work that is going into that. I'm sure it's pretty stressful, but I just wanted to recognize that it is a different climate this year, and I'm appreciative of the efforts with their budget.
Thank you.
We'll see what happens.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? That brings us to the Board of Education committee reports. We only have one committee report for this evening. Bye, JFK.
Thank you. You're wise to leave now. Sorry about this. Okay, we did have a policy meeting. Find where I put my stuff because I'm a bludgeon tonight, so please forgive me. But we had several policies that we considered for a long time, and most of them were sent to our attorney for review. There is one policy that was put in your library for review about our student who will be serving starting next year. It was provided by NISBA. The differences are that our local high school principal and along with our support here, Dr. Williams, came up with a wonderful way of bringing it to the high school. So that process is complete. Do we have an update on where we are with that?
Yes, so the committee ultimately interviewed 13 successful candidates, some 19 to start, oh sorry.
Thank you.
There were 19 to start. Thank you. There were 19 candidates that made it through the process, but some could not commit once they understood the time commitment. So 13 ultimately were interviewed by a committee at the high school, inclusive of some of our professionals who are part of the student governing bodies, our principal, one of the students, and they ultimately selected 2 students whose names, if they haven't been forwarded to the Board of Ed, will be forwarded to the Board of Ed for you to meet and decide if you would like to move forward with the selection of the 2 students.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we have that new policy for, we had a first reading, but I think we can vote on it. We've discussed it so much, and I don't think, unless somebody has concerns or additions that they'd like to send back. So I would move that we accept the policy, and I can't find my right, I showed it to you at the beginning of the meeting, Mrs. Siri. Did you take my notes?
I did not take your notes.
But I don't, oh, here it is. Okay, never mind. So it's policy 2245.
Second.
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
I have an amendment, so I'd like to move to amend this policy to strike the section that lays out that they don't have to appear during the months of July and August.
I think
I think that's
by
state regulation.
I was gonna
regs.
say, I think that was a hand-down.
No.
No, it's not state regulation. The
Oh,
board
okay.
can,
They
the
gave
board
us
can
the
have a,
option.
the
They
board
gave
can have a
us the-
policy
oh.
that they could be a 12-month or a 10-month. Obviously, a 12-month is more difficult for students, but that's the decision of the board. And it may change the responsibility, the candidates'
Yeah.
Right.
attitudes towards whether they want to serve.
Can I ask you why you, well, first of all, do we have a second? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Second.
Do we have to vote on the first motion?
No.
Not if
Before
he
we
has
No.
an amendment.
Okay, okay.
We have to vote on the amendment, but he has to have a
Okay.
second.
Yeah, I would second.
I got it.
So why are you proposing that?
Well, I feel that that we are pretty flexible when people can't make it or whatever. I feel like having it written that in July and August we're not really doing anything, so like it doesn't matter, you don't gotta come, is not the best way to write this. I feel like if students can't be there over the summer, that's something that I feel like we would probably be able to accommodate, but to just write in there that it's.
Well, I understand. I understand where you're coming from. I think the board, the policy committee felt that we didn't want to put an undue burden on the student, and since school was not in session. But I wonder if we can add the word may instead of must.
It says optional.
I don't know where the line is that you're referring to.
It says optional. Ex officio serve.
Mr. Lamb?
Where is it?
Because that's in there doesn't mean we would not welcome them at the
Right.
summer meetings.
Right.
It just allows them to not have to commit to those. I certainly would hope that they'd be welcome to come to any meeting.
Would it,
I think that was the intention of the policy committee, for
Right.
not making it mandatory.
No, it just says optional.
it says optional.
Right.
Would it be, I mean, I guess what maybe you're getting at is maybe it would be encouraged but optional? I think they go on vacation. I think they take it off.
They're not barred from coming, it's just that it's optional so that they're not feeling like they're not meeting their obligation if they're not there. I think the expectation is that they have their family vacations, they have whatever, if they're going to be seniors, they might be going on college visitations, a number of things. But I think the idea was that if it's optional that they can attend, they would sit at the table. If they're not here, we don't want to mark them as absent. It's just a present, but not an absent. You know what I mean?
Students work in the summer,
Yeah.
different obligations they have.
The point is that we went through this entire process, and we have two candidates who expected that it was optional for the summer. And so I would not support that change. I think that the language allows them to come or not come. I think after a year, if it becomes, if the student recommends that, I think the student next year should be here as part of it. I would be more comfortable changing it up front before the process of selection and nomination happened, rather than after.
Is the first meeting in July, that's the.
The reorg meeting.
Yeah.
Reorg meeting.
That's kind of important. I mean, I don't wanna, I'm.
Well, the agendas
They
would
don't-
still be, they're not in the executive session, and it's a boilerplate of lots of things that have to be done. I don't
And
know
they don't
that-
vote.
No, they don't.
No,
They don't vote.
Right.
And they're reporting on,
I'm sorry. And they would have access to the agenda. So I think if they want to, I just think it's too late at this point, after we've gone through the process, after months of talking about it. And we discussed it at the policy committee as well.
I mean, procedurally speaking, as opposed to policy speaking, maybe it's so they're coming on board. This is what happens in July is the reorganization meeting, which is, I mean, saying something like that, I mean, maybe would that suffice? I mean, I do think it reads optional. I understand your point. I just think there's a reason why they made that commentary in the regulation.
So can we call the question on the vote for the amendment?
You just did.
All in favor of amending the policy 2245? All opposed?
What was your vote?
I'm kind of opposed now.
Okay. So there will be no change in the wording of 2245.
If we test it.
No, we don't.
Well, now we have to pass it.
Can we call that question?
We can. I think you just did. So all in favor of accepting policy 2245?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so that is our newest policy.
The other part of my report, I just want to call to your attention to look for policy 5151, education of homeless or temporarily housed students. We have to review that. There have been changes. It did go through policy, and it was intended to be a first reading. So if you could just make sure that that's done before the April 2nd meeting, so that if there are no problems with it, we will pass it at that time.
Okay, thank you very much. That brings us to the consent agenda. Are there any items that trustees would like pulled from the consent agenda? Hearing none, if I could have a motion,
So moved.
Second.
and any discussion on the consent agenda? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So our consent agenda is passed. We do have a few donations.
Yes, we do. The Board of Education of the Kingston City School District hereby accepts with grateful appreciation the following generous donation. To Ernest C. Meyer Elementary School from Community Foundations of the Hudson Valley, a donation in the form of a mural by muralist Yalani Crooks.
Jelani.
To Chambers Elementary School from the Community Foundation of the Hudson Valley, a donation in the form of a mural by muralist Yalani Crooks. And to JFK Elementary School from the Community Foundation of the Hudson Valley, a donation in the form of a check of $2,000. So thank you to all of them.
Thank you. That brings us to old business. Any old business?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
I still have an issue with how we get into the high school for performances. And I get, there was a parking lot. I have a knee that needs to be replaced. I don't have a handicap thing, so I can't park in that spot, number one. I wouldn't take that from someone, Ken. There are older people walking with canes, and it's either a steep grade up from Broadway or a steep grade down from when we have a hallway go through. If it's the rest of the building being open, then I think we should get something to block those hallways so they can't wander, because it's a straight path from that back door in the pouring rain for some events or cold and snow for other events. It's a straight path down to the elevator, down a half a flight on the elevator, and you're at the, that building is not, even with that little parking area, that's still not handicap accessible for our elderly, handicapped, and other people. And I think we need to address that. People were parked all over the lawn on that side of the building, and I know Dr. Panalino arrived a great deal after I did. I always go in the back because I don't want to take up those spots, all right? So, but I know, he found spots over by the field house, so I get it. but that's still, those spots over by the field house are not really handicap accessible. We have a beautiful entranceway. We have those monitors we could have on with events that are going on in that high school, and we could showpiece what the community has given to us and let people have an easy access to the building. And I think that's what we need to do for events. And it was such a wonderful event too, so we'll get to that later. But I think.
Are you referring to the main entrance?
Yes, Salton
Yes,
main entrance.
yes, because you have that hallway, and if you go to the left.
So you weren't, because I was able to get through that main entrance.
I wasn't, and you know what? It didn't make a difference for me, to be honest with you. But other people,
Well, yeah.
it does,
people
and
did.
it's locked up. It's like Fort Knox. And the one event, there was someone sitting there to tell you that you couldn't enter through that way, which was the security person. There's nothing more disappointing to somebody who needs to go in that way than be greeted by security saying, you can't come in this way. And, you know, I think we need to make that building welcoming to the community, because it's gorgeous, and we've done a lot of work, and it's an issue.
We'll discuss it with safety and security and the building administration again.
My only problem with that is we've been discussing it for 2 years, and that really.
Well, we have, I mean, and I think we had, I mean, they said I was there, and on a Sunday afternoon, we can't close off hallways, it's against fire code, so you can't put up those gates like we used to in the old days and close things off. If it's a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon, we have night school going on, so we got a couple hundred other kids in there, so people coming through. You know, there's a limit to what our security can do. Our concern was the people with the handicap parking, so we created that. Easy walk right to that door, right to that elevator, right up the stairs, right to where they needed to be. You know, it was, so we felt we had a reasonable solution to that. And again, I agree, I would like to see people be able to see everything that is in there, but we also, especially during the week, I mean, everyone in here knows, go to Kingston High School Saturday this week, there'll be 16 things going on in that building. So keeping all of that under control, as well as waiting for, you know, 650 people going through the hallways down to the play is a challenge. You know, there's the handicap piece, I thought was handled well, was staffed well, people got where they were supposed to be pretty easily. And like I said, like Mr. Lamb said, I got there at I drove all the parking lots to see where people were, to see where parking was. I went around 3 times, so the only people I saw out there were our people. I was the last person through the door at 4:58. No one came in behind me, so no one got there late because of a parking issue or not being able to get through the building. But I mean, we can always look to tweak and improve, but we thought we had a pretty good plan as far as the, you know, and, you know, sometimes when there's concerts during the week, like we had, we have a lot of things going on in that building during the week, and we would like to see the people going to the concert go through the way we want them to go to the concert, the people going to the robotics competition go the way we want them to go to robotics, the kids who are in night school over here, we want to make sure that they are separated from any, you know, basically adults that are walking through the building that don't go through the Raptor system, so we don't know who they are. So there's a lot of different security concerns going on there. But again, we can look at tweaking it. Sunday, it probably would have been fine, right? Sunday, right? There was nothing going on but the play. So Sunday, we probably could have set it up to walk right through. But on many days, there is a lot going on in that high school, and the best we can, you know, funnel people to exactly where we want them to go, using the doors we want them to use, is in the best interest of the district, our students, and just overall safety.
I was wondering if, it doesn't sound like it's necessarily feasible, but like wayfinding and signage. I don't know if that helps, but it might be so transient that like where you're moving people or which people are being guided to where that it might not.
Yeah, I think signage, you could probably always do better with signage, but, you know, I'd rather, especially for all the reasons I just listed, I'd rather have people, because anyone can wander off wherever they want in the building if they get through those doors, and so that's what we want to have people there to guide people where they need to go. you know, you've all been in the building. You get to the end of the main hall, the cafeteria's in front of you. You go left, you go right. You can choose. And you go left, you're going to get down to
Kinda like a maze.
Yeah, you go down left, you're going to get down to the auditorium. You go right, you're going to access the whole other wing of the building, including the field house. So you got a lot of different things to kind of secure. And you're right. I wish back in the old days we had gates. Gates, you put a lock on them, you can close off certain sections of the building. We're not allowed to do that anymore.
I will say that the handicapped lot, making that side lot handicapped, except for handicapped only, really helped a lot. And I
Yeah.
think people I knew, I suggested that they drop people off at that entrance because there were people there to welcome them. And then the elevator was right there. So it might not be a bad thing when we have those events that is the handicapped entrance, so you can drop somebody off and then go park. And that's what a lot of people did. And there were many, I think the first night, Wednesday, people might not have been aware that was going to be designated all handicapped.
No, security was out there, because that's the night
Yeah.
we went.
The problem is, people, like, I don't enter from that way. I'm from the other side of town, so we come in from Mary's Ave and go up and park there were no signs at all there. And the other thing is, getting back around to that door to pick somebody up is a problem. I mean, because the traffic going out of those lots and stuff.
Well, it didn't seem to be a problem when I was near the elevator and helping people. The funniest thing was that people don't understand the R.
R and
So I
yes.
watched the little thing light up. I go down to the basement, and then I saw it go 2R, 1R, basement. But it's just getting familiar with it. I'm just saying that if that was always designated handicapped, and people knew that, you have to, you have to recognize that when you go to any store, there's 2 or 3 handicapped spaces. That's all that they have. It is a large building. I think that night school was the issue for some people, for a couple of the nights. Friday wasn't a problem.
Wednesday,
Saturday
Thursday,
wasn't a problem. But
Thursday.
Wednesday and Thursday, maybe we have to do a better job of communication.
Maybe you need a little golf cart.
We have a golf
cart.
Well, and Wednesday was senior night, so.
Yeah.
So that made
But they
it.
kind of did fine with it.
Yeah.
They were fine with it. Yeah. We didn't have any problems.
We'll debrief with our
Thank you.
security team.
I'm sorry.
Any other old business? New business? The one item that we had on was the BOCES board member nomination, but we've already done that, so we can skip over that.
Just a quick question. Ms. Siri, do you have to turn that into
I will turn
BOCES
that into
tomorrow
Roxanne
morning? Right.
tomorrow morning, yes.
Thank you.
So no other new business. That brings us to public comment. I'm not seeing anyone in the public. So I guess we can skip over that. Board member announcements. Mrs. Jordan and then Mr. Lamb.
I just want to congratulate everybody who was involved with the play, but I also want to thank the community for supporting the kids so generously throughout the process of the play, from Wednesday night all the way through Sunday. And there are a lot of people, the parents were just, there's a lot of people you don't see, the volunteers who sell the tickets and are backstage and helping, and the people who create the stage and build the stage and do the props. It was a lovely, lovely group of people involved, and they got their just rewards because people really enjoyed the show. So I want to thank the community, but the families and students and teachers, everybody involved. It was great.
Mr. Lamb.
I just want to piggyback on that because that was my living, and I got to tell you, it was the best high school production I have ever in my life seen. And it was just amazing. There were parents and community members that built sets. There were community members that did costuming. The pit is all student pit, and people don't understand that many or most high schools hire a pit. They don't have enough students to do it, and the job that our music department does with that, and the job preparing our singers and the acting, it was just incredible. And I'd like to thank everyone who was involved in any way for that production. Our Our lighting has got better. There was not one sound incident on Sunday. And I gotta be honest with you, the last time I saw a Broadway production without one sound incident, I can't remember. Right, so I think they were amazing. So thank everyone involved and thank the district for supporting.
I think last year, that's what you guys said about the play, so that it seems like they've outdone themselves again.
Year to year to year.
Right, last
Yeah.
year they had
Completely
some really
different,
great
but
accolades.
both great.
Yeah.
I just have one announcement, and that is the Ulster County School Boards Association, their next meeting is April 10th. And that's the BOCES celebration where the kids cook for us. But it is a conflict for us because it's National Honor Society induction. So just keep that in mind as you, it's gonna be a dilemma for me, for sure, but,
I do have one
okay.
piece of new business, I guess. I
Okay.
should have put it on the superintendent's report. April 22nd, we are required by law to have a board meeting to vote on the budget, on the BOCES budget, and the BOCES board members. April 22nd, we do not have school.
That's hard. What, is it spring break, part of spring break?
It's part of the spring break
Right.
extension,
Oh, okay.
right? So it's the Tuesday of that,
Oh.
Tuesday after Easter Monday, so it's Easter Tuesday.
Do we have to adjust a policy?
We don't have a
No,
policy
we
that
don't.
we won't, our policy does not say we won't have board meetings if there's not school.
Okay, so we can.
We
So
can have.
we could have a,
Yep,
we
we
could
can.
have
It's not a
Okay.
policy issue.
As
It's just an inconvenience.
long as everybody's here,
Let's have an Easter dinner.
unless I can attend in North Carolina.
Is it going to be a one item agenda?
I think we can manage that.
Does the cabinet have to be here?
Yes.
Oh, man.
What about
So-
security?
Yes.
The whole cabinet has to be here?
They're fine. They'll be good.
I see you're not worried about me in any way.
I mean, Karen's like,
We have to be here.
Okay.
So do we have to make that decision tonight, or?
Well, we have to have a meeting.
Right, okay,
We
so
have-
whether
Whether
we have to have a
somebody
meeting.
comes.
And-
And we're not gonna be in school, so,
Right.
two facts that we can't change.
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
does it have to be at the same time in the evening?
No, it does not.
Oh.
As long as we give proper public notice.
Okay.
Chief, your mic is off.
I see that.
We have to start over.
Enjoy that.
Mrs.
I
Cortez.
just briefly, I won't give a full report, but just to announce that earlier today, Ms. Anderson, Dr. Catalino, and I met with the Ulster County representatives of the Ulster County IDA, and had an interesting conversation, which we'll summarize, I guess, at a later date.
I thought it was very informative on from both sides, so we can give a report
And I
next
think
meeting.
it has potential that we can work together for the best interest of the school, so, and the community. All right, that brings us to a motion to adjourn.
So.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.